Time now for Inside Out as we welcome in SNY NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano. And Ralph, Mike LaFleur was upstairs for the Bengals game instead of being down on the field, which is where he was when Zach Wilson was the Jets starting quarterback. But what else was different with the Jets offensive coordinator on Sunday?
Well, he certainly had the magic touch in this game. Almost everything he did worked, which clearly is different from the first few games of the season. But there were a couple of things I thought were different. One is I thought he was aggressive early, which was great. He told Mike White he was going to let it rip early in the game. His first 5 play calls were passes. That got the quarterback settled. It got the defense on their heels. I think he got more creative. We saw end arounds and option passes and a Philly special at one point, a flea flicker. All of those things obviously are a product of the offense working, but it showed that he's got these things in his playbook to keep the defense again on its heels a little bit. But, you know, mostly I think this was a product of the quarterback making better use of the play calls, getting it right, throwing quick, short passes, a running game that could stretch the field from side to side. Things worked early on. And when that happens, it's much easier for the offensive coordinator. He could call his game. He wasn't scrambling like he was very often to find something that would work in the first 6 games of the season.
Now, Ralph, this is a good problem to have, I guess, and you have a column up about it on SNY.TV now. But how does White's emergence complicate the Jets' plan for quarterback in the immediate near future?
Yeah, a quarterback controversy, something we love in New York. We're obviously not there yet. And long term, we know that Zach Wilson is the future of the Jets. They've invested a lot in him. They took him 2nd overall. They think he's going to be a star. But it does make things interesting short term. We know Mike White will start again on Thursday night, but what happens if he continues to play really well? I don't mean just average, like, you know, and it doesn't have to be 400 and something yards well, but he has a 300-yard game. He's playing winning football. The Jets are going to have to make a decision as to whether they want to keep him in there and let the offense grow. A lot of young players on offense can benefit from a quarterback playing well and making the right reads. Or are they better off throwing Zach Wilson back in there because this season was supposed to be all about him and his growth? But, you know, he could come back in there and struggle, and then everything will get messed up. So a few games from now, if Mike White is playing well and if Zach Wilson is healthy, they're going to have a very difficult, complicated decision. But let's get to that second good game by Mike White first. One game doesn't complicate anything.
And now Joe Flacco sitting there saying, hey, what the heck am I doing here anyway?
Why am I here?
Yeah, as you mentioned about the immediate future, the trade deadline coming Tuesday at 4. So, Ralph, what's the latest on who Joe Douglas and the Jets might be looking to move?
Yeah, you know, I think the odds are still pretty good that they won't make a move and they're not going to actively look to trade anyone. But they do have some players that are drawing interest around the league, from what I'm told. One of them is going to be Marcus Maye, their franchise player safety, who's not signed beyond the end of this season. The Jets are getting phone calls on him. I'm told that they're telling teams that they want to get at least a 3rd-round pick, which is going to be tough. For one thing, Marcus Maye is not that kind of impact player that could put a contender over the top. But for another, he's due $6 million more this season. And some of those teams are going to want the Jets to pick up some of that money. And I don't think they're going to be willing to do that. So my guess is May will stay where he is. They're also likely to get phone calls about Jamison Crowder and Denzel Mims, 2 potentially expendable receivers, because there are a few contenders like the Saints and the Packers who are looking for receivers to help boost their offense. Crowder is not signed beyond the end of this season. Mims, for whatever reason, seems to have fallen out of favor with this coaching staff. The Jets, though, might not want to move either one of them because whoever their young quarterback is, whether it's Mike White or Zach Wilson, you don't want to start taking weapons away from them. So I think in this case, if the offer is right, all 3 of those guys could be had, but the Jets' price is going to be high, and I don't think they're really inclined to move any of those guys unless it's an offer they can't refuse.
That would be vintage Jets if they move Mims and he blossoms somewhere else. Ralph Vacchiano, thanks for joining us here on Geico Sports Night.
Anytime.